Hi everyone, my name is Katya. Who are you? I'm a Russian businesswoman, polyglot, Russian teacher, vlogger, you name it. So basically, it's been like 6 months since I went to the United States for the first time, and I've never actually followed up on that. Um, I spent there 4 weeks, right? It was a program for, well, you can find the description on this channel. The idea was to kind of um, post some videos during my trip, but it was overwhelming for me, and I barely could do some stories on Instagram. And even in Russian, afterwards, I didn't do a proper like vlog. So I still got all of those videos and etc. But actually, it changed my life. Um, there were several factors that made my experience, let's say, challenging and at the same time game changing. Well, the context is that before I, I always loved business books and some marketing ideas. I was watching different, you know, TV shows about how they do business from scratch, and I love the approach of like just do it. So my idea was, apart from just visiting the country for free, because it was a nice program where if you like pass certain stages, interviews, blah blah blah, they cover everything. So we went to Armenia to get our visa. We went then to, or like twice basically there, and all the trips were covered. The visa thing to Moscow, no one can get a visa in Russia, and we were like 1 year ago, boom, alone in the building in Moscow. Only us, the group that was going there. Well, two groups actually. One went in March and we went in July. Yeah, luckily. I was assigned to go to Chicago, and we first traveled to Washington. I have so many things to tell you. My idea was to say how people treated us and what questions I got as a Russian there. Because I will say, obviously, I went there super scared. And mostly because of what others were saying. So it's a shame. I was thinking a lot about all those foreigners, or like you call internationals, who've been visiting Russia for the past 10 years or 7 years of my project To Are You and blog. And I was always interviewing them, asking like, how did you decide to go to Russia if everyone was telling you, oh, it's dangerous, don't go, and blah blah blah. And so it was always so precious to know that, well, they didn't listen to anyone and went, well, came here and they liked it. Most of them stayed here for some time, married, or it depends. So myself doing the same thing, vice versa, getting a lot of hate on YouTube because I wanted to do some hype out of it, obviously, because it was the year 2023, and in Russian, like basically, we were a group. I think it was the only thing that was saving me from going too crazy, because obviously my family, friends from the university, they were mostly supportive, saying that, yeah, cool, nice, go. At the same time, followers both from Russia and Latin America, because my main blog is in Spanish, and they were like, what are you doing, why are you going there, it's dangerous, don't tell them you're Russian, tell them you're Chilean, pretend like you don't speak English or whatever. And I was assigned to go to Chicago, which is considered one of the most dangerous cities of the country. Well, recently, right? So it's getting dangerous and more dangerous every year. And then I still didn't know that my work would be on the south of Chicago, And basically, I would go to one of the most dangerous places of the city, and suburbs of the suburbs, and southern suburbs, and university side. Oh, yeah. To be honest, yeah, maybe it was too much of information. Maybe sometimes it's better not to know anything and just get there, and maybe so get things out of your experience, because it's like you're imagining things. You can't sleep well, you're always like that. And in Russia, I'm so used to, it's so safe here. Oh my God. I think my feeling in the United States was similar to only to Brazil. In Brazil, in Rio de Janeiro, it wasn't nice. Like you walk around and you can't just relax. Maybe it was something like in my head. Because it depends, right? So even those areas that were mentioned and listed on different websites in Russian and English as difficult, like really dangerous areas, and you get there by bus, people running, there's no one around, and it's like calm and green, and you're like, what? This is it? Questions. So we have a long trip first. So we get to Istanbul early in the morning, like 5 a.m. Then we go to Frankfurt. We didn't have a visa, like European visa, and then there it was the first time ever that my name, I heard my name in the airport. So there they name people normally who get late on the plane or something, and no, it was just our group, and they were mentioning like our surnames. They were like, why, what did I do? But no, they were like, I don't know why we had to go to a specific place, all of us, to then go to, well, check our bags or something. So nothing special. So they, with really sorrow, they checked everything, and finally got on the plane to Washington. Oh my God. There on the plane, I was surprised that maybe it wasn't the most expensive flight ever, but personally, my stress was that I was sitting next to the window, by the way, and the guy next to me, actually, then we talked after some hours, and he was traveling from Africa somewhere, and then to Washington for work. Finally, a really nice guy. But before, I was sitting next to the window and I fell asleep, right? Because we were tired, I fell asleep. And then I wake up and everyone's eating. The only meal on the plane, and I overslept it. I didn't get it. For some reason, the guy next to me didn't wake me up. Well, he didn't have to, I understand, but I mean the lady or the guy, like they didn't wake me up either. Nice. So I was super stressed. I was so offended. I understand, okay, it's my fault. But I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna be starving for 14 hours, so I don't know how much. And I was like, calling. So I push the button and the guy comes back. Sorry, I don't remember the name. They say flight attendant, I think, right? It's been like 5 months I didn't speak English, sorry. And he comes back and I'm like, sorry, I want my food. And he put that face like, really? And I was like, yes, really, please, could you please give me my food? And he brought me food, and of course everyone was like watching at me, and I didn't care, right? And I was super mad with the guy next to me because of why. Yeah, it's okay. Then first day, Washington surprised me because it was such a nice place. It was super calm. I think after, because we were coming back the same way, and like coming back to Russia, stayed one day more in Chicago, or in Washington, and it was such a calm place. There I could feel safe. maybe not safe, but you can walk and there's no one and there's only rats on the streets. No, just kidding. We actually walked at night. And it was so warm, so nice. I enjoyed it. And there, for the first time, I noticed that there is a difference. You have basically two types of places to eat. Either it's a nice, really like fancy place. Either you have fast food, like really cheap. So in Russia, at least, we have something in the middle. Always there's nice places where it's quite cheap. So it's like in the middle, you know. You can feel it. There are people, and there's like, if it's a nice place, there are no people. What surprised me, I don't know, it was nice the first evening, and then the second day, I got an appointment with my Chinese teacher because her boyfriend was living in Washington, and they got to know each other on internet, and then after a month, she got a visa and traveled there. So basically, before we were talking like Russia, China, and then we could meet in Washington. Such a nice idea, and we made it. So basically, we talked. We had how do you call it? Yeah, like some evening food. And the guy's really nice, and they showed me around. And then we stayed there on the like embankment something. And they invited some friends over. And so I'm sitting there with some locals, second night in the United States, and I'm like, yeah, trying out they ordered some food. I was trying, and for me it was okay, like some Mexican things, and it was a kind of Chicago style pizza, and I tried it, and it was not good. Luckily I tried it afterwards in Chicago. But there I remember there was this rich guy. If you're watching me, hey, because like I didn't answer his messages in the end. He was texting me, and he was such a smart guy. I think he was like working for some really big companies, and he's rich and smart, etc. But he said he like used to date some Russian girls. And he was asking me, but in a nice way. So I never, throughout the whole trip, I never received a bad question. Because, for example, when I was working in Malaysia some years ago, it was like the year 2017, I remember this French guy, and I know people from all over the world, right? Either here in Russia, abroad, from more than 60 countries, foreign students. And like there I experienced, I was like younger, you know, I was not strong enough, and the guy would just attack me with the questions like if it was my fault or something, so some political things. And in the United States, never ever, in 4 weeks I never experienced that. And so the guy was asking me, first thing, what are actually Russians thinking about the Americans, the estadounidenses, right? So the people from the United States. And I'm like taking a breath and thinking, why not being honest? And I just said some things that were true. Actually, I wouldn't say more. I just said like fake smiles. It's a joke that we hear from, you know, for a lifetime. Fake smiles. And he was like, oh, actually, yeah. So it was a nice conversation. They were like, well, fair enough. And then the second thing I said that they were materialistic. So always thinking about how to earn money, and rather, so not as, you know, Asian approach when you're more spiritual oriented, spiritually. So it was a nice talk. I actually think I was super open, so not a typical Russian at all. You know, guys, for real, my mindset is such a mixture of different cultures, because I speak French, I speak Spanish from different countries, from a lot of different cultural contexts. I speak English, basically also I can do both accents, and I spoke English in Asia, so I even understand jokes from Asia. I learned Chinese. I don't speak it fluently, but you know that it's a different mindset as well. Russian, Catalan, I understand Italian. Better, I understand Portuguese from Brazil. So a lot of, and obviously Russian, a lot of different mindsets. In Spanish, they call me multifacética, like that I have different facets. So many different types of personalities, if you want. So I'm super happy, for example, that I got to know people from Spain who were always like super socially smart. In Switzerland, I was living, and everyone was so much smarter than, well, us sometimes. Like in my hometown, for example, there's just different context. You don't care much about how other people would feel. In currently being influenced by Latin American culture, where they have respect and like such importance of family. Also, I'm learning even more that it can be different, you can think differently. And so in the United States, the first week I was getting, like at work, sometimes people would say, "Oh, you're Russian," and I shake your hand. Oh my God. I would just laugh, because finally we could have a talk. At least, I was positively surprised there were people that could discuss with me some Russian movies in detail that they were studied, I don't know, at cultural science or political science at the university. I actually did 2 speeches. One at school that I was consulting, and second about Spanish language for kids. And second speech I did was online, but well, at least it was possible, and super thankful for that. In Loyola University, in front of the students that they were changing their profession and studying to be a teacher, I think. So there I talked about educational policies in Russia and how policies influence education. I was scared, to be honest. I didn't know why they would ask me to talk about that, but actually it was just the context of the subject, and it was just interesting for them. And finally I was scared, because even my boss, she was telling me, the group, they like asking questions, and they would question you. They would be like, like this. Because she even told me that the first time she mentioned that a Russian girl would give a talk to them, is that they told, the sun is coming out, and that the reaction was, Russian, really, Russian. Oh my God, it would happen to me in the last week. Overall, in Chicago, being a city, like a more liberal, modern city, I felt like some people just, let's say, they treated me well, so I have no complaints. At the same time, you can feel it that they are not like happy to see you, and I respect that. I'm just sharing that. The first day, so they would just like do the thing that they had to do, bring us there, and like ciao, right? So it wasn't like, hey, na. Sometimes you can feel it, this let's say match, or when both sides want to share experiences. And there, personally, I was also kind of closed, scared. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know where we would live. In the first night, I remember I was trying to get to sleep, and I hear sounds like police sounds and cars outside of the hotel at like midnight. And I was like, oh my God, what am I doing here? Why did I come here? Because it's really something that, security is something that is precious, something that you experience daily. And I wonder, like there or in Latin America, how do people with kids live? How do they walk on the streets? Sometimes I question that. I don't know. Finally, I didn't like go out a lot, just with friends, or sometimes where there was some guy with us, or so it was limited. Still, I discovered a lot of places. I went to dance salsa, bachata twice or 3 times. The QB Bear is called. QB Bear salsa. There it was so nice. Oh my God. There, one more time, I went out with one Latin girl and we went to a bar. And there was like a bar, but where they were dancing as well. There it wasn't nice. It was kind of, yeah, I didn't feel safe there. I even didn't know like where to leave my bag, because here I would put it on the window, and just do my thing. And finally, what else? Every place I went to, it was okay. So I didn't experience anything bad, to be honest. Maybe it's luck. Maybe the first time also when I had some issues with the bus, because like one time I was waiting for first day. I had to go to work and I had to travel somewhere. It wasn't close. And it was so hot and I didn't have proper internet, like good connection. And I was waiting for this bus, seeing that it was coming by. And then it arrives. It's like stops a bit and then it goes away. I was so mad. Oh my God. I was even recording videos like, is it because I'm Russian? Why? What is happening? No, obviously not. It's just I didn't know that you had to like get close to the first door, because the second door you can't get in there, like things like that. Yeah, but it was kind of stressful. And actually one trip I made was to New York. In New York, I was positively surprised. I think it was cheaper than in Chicago. It was different. I thought it would be similar, because I was super happy with like the fact that I was sent to Chicago because of the beach, because of the like super nice skyline. It was so nice. It's just a beautiful city. I enjoyed it, to be honest. It was like just so Instagrammable, apart from the security thing. And New York, it was different. Metro was a shock, because it was crazy hot, like so hot. Well, it smelled, and finally I end up like I got canceled. My hotel reservation was canceled. I didn't know where to stay. It was expensive. I stayed with my Russian friend. Luckily, she was nice to have me there on her small sofa on Brighton Beach. So I traveled 1 hour to Brighton Beach. Anyway, it was kind of long distances, far away. And I couldn't believe that I was in New York, because we arrived and we took a taxi all together. And we arrived like to the northern part of Central Park. Oh my God. And it was dirty, it was empty, it was kind of, yeah, it was a shock. And I was like, is that New York? Is that the city? But no, then I understand the contrasts, and you just walk 20 minutes, totally different city, nice, all modern, all amazing. I didn't do the night ride to see Times Square at night, but I went there during the day. It was super hot. It was amazing. Unfortunately, I wasn't at my best, let's say. I didn't have like, I would dress up for an occasion like that. And at that time, I didn't have um, how do you say, like, stable income, and so I worked what I could. But it was really nice, a really nice weekend there. And basically in Chicago, one of the last days there, I go to the beach, and I say to myself, oh, I didn't play volleyball there. It was my dream to play volleyball there on the beach. And then I go there, oh my God, and I hear people speak in Russian. And I like catch the ball and wanted to throw it to them. And like this, with my poker face, asking, can I play with you? And the guy's like, yeah, sure. And starts speaking Ukrainian to me. Because obviously there are no Russians there. There are many Ukrainians there. And also, the first guy I danced with on the salsa fiesta, we started dancing and we understand each other really well. He asked me out to dance. And we're like dancing, really understanding each other in bachata dance. And he's like, where are you from? I'm like, Russia. And he's like, oh, I'm from Ukraine. And finally we hugged, so it was like a really cute moment. Really cute moment. And because everyone else was dancing a different type of bachata, different type of salsa, and here it's different. Here we like have our types of movements, etc. And there, oh my God, that moment was the worst of the trip, I think, because obviously I'm like kind of daring. I always have this courage to ask things maybe too directly, and you know, I was just working there, so I didn't have any problem like talking to people. Okay, they come from where they come, and I respect their reaction in case it's not the one I expected. And there the guy is also volleyball, beach, nice weather, and I'm like, can I play with you? And he starts talking Ukrainian to me, and I'm like switching to English and saying, sorry, I don't speak Ukrainian. And he's like watching me, looking at me, and saying, what language do you speak then? And I'm like, I'm Russian, so I speak Russian and English. And he turns away to the guys, to everyone else, because it was a group of Ukrainians. Some of them speak Russian, some of them didn't. I didn't know that, because it depends on the city they come from, right? And so it's silent, because some of them didn't understand what was going on, and the guy had to kind of decide whether he lets me in or not. And so it's silent for 10 seconds. I'm watching, and then everyone else like, can I play with you? And he let me in finally. And yeah, I'm thankful for like that they let me play with them, because I played one set, so like let's say for 1 hour I played with them, and I played well. I couldn't do the padacha thing, but the rest they saw I could play well. And then I saw some other people coming over, and I was like, okay, like, and so I kind of, you know, stayed away. And several of them came to me and said, no, we would play once again, blah, blah, blah. And in 2 hours, when we played, and they would ask me to play with them once again. Even though no one came, there was a moment that they went to like swim, and I went there the same direction, but no one kind of came to talk to me to ask what I'm doing here or anything else. But at the same time, they were nice. When I was leaving, I say bye-bye. Some of them, they were like, yeah, bye. Some of them were, hey, bye-bye, la la la. So I guess it depends. So it was a nice experience to me. I'm happy that I could see people from, I got to know some Americans, some European people, some, suddenly Ukrainians. And I was positively surprised that there were so many people that either visited Russia, had relatives in Russia. So I'd say 60% of everyone, 70% I'd say. If I mention, oh, I'm Russian, they would say, oh, well, I went there, like da da da. And it was genuine. It wasn't fake. Yeah? So pretty much it. I think I'd better record some shorts with small stories, like on the plane. I was traveling, like the plane from Washington to Chicago, 2 hours. I was sitting next to a guy from Trinidad and Tobago. They moved to Chicago with their family, and he was having a book of Dostoevsky, Crime and Punishment. The guy was reading Dostoevsky next to me on the flight Washington-Chicago. And then the lady was listening to us. We were talking about culture, languages. I was teaching him some Russian on the plane, and the lady in the end tells us that, oh my God, guys, you're so intelligent, so young, so intelligent. And where are you from? Welcome to United States. And I'm like, the first person I'm talking to, like, after Washington, I'm like, I'm from Russia. And seemed to, like, watching to in her eyes, and she's like, oh my God, my family is from St. Petersburg, da 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 da. And so it was the first moment, and I gave her some souvenirs or something, like tea. I brought some tea from Russia. Oh my God, and I was like, what? And I was afraid of this, and they're so nice to me. They were really nice. And several people like this, here and there. Oh, I went to Russia. Oh, so nice. Oh, how was the trip? How was everything? At work, they would ask me, like, my feelings. How do you deal with the whole situation? But no one would. So they treated me well. Thanks for that. I really hope that I will go back with more money, with friends, with some nice itinerary to visit more places, because I was short on my budget, and it's not a nice idea, when you can't even like buy things. It was okay, but it was kind of short. Yeah, so follow me on Instagram, Katya to you. I hope I'll keep this Wednesday tradition, and I'll have more of you on this channel.